Super Rugby Power Rankings, folks, for round number 2. Boy, well, there's some big score lines at the weekend. Not many of the games were close. Hurricanes Rebels was close. Blues and Brumbies was close. But all the rest was some big old score lines. So, yeah, we'll rank the teams after 2 rounds. You guys can let us know your thoughts on how you think the teams are going. Keeping in mind, we've carried over some of the data from last year to kind of at least put a bit of weight onto this year. Still mostly looking at this year, but with a little bit of last year's flavour. Moana Pasifika are still your 12th side. They are winless from 2 games. They played the Chiefs. They got beaten 52-29 in the Super Round, which was the neutral round in Melbourne for most sides. Obviously, the Rebels were at home, but for everyone else, they were kind of at neutral venues. Yeah, I mean, they scored some second-half tries. I'll give them that, but boy, did they concede some tries as well. So, high-scoring game. They would have liked to start a bit better because they started pretty badly, did the Moana Pasifika boys. But, yeah, no change for them. Likewise for the Rebels. They were a home side. They lost at home, which probably counts against them a little bit more than some of the other sides. So maybe it's doing them a little bit of a disservice because 33-39, their loss to the Canes was maybe more encouraging than some of the teams who we've got to follow. But we do need to remember they were genuinely at home, which is something not any other team can say this week. I mean, their first try was encouraging. They did well to come back from quite far down. The scrum looked decent. So, yeah, again, kind of like Moana Pasifika, there's some bright spots there. Not all doom and gloom by any means, but 2 losses in a row and the only team to lose at home. The Highlanders have genuinely looked pretty bad. Sad to say, they've been given absolute hidings 2 weeks in a row now, 52-15. I mean, if I'm looking for the bright side, there was a time when it looked like the Crusaders were going to score a lot more than 52. So the fact that the Landers came back and scored a couple of late tries through Timu, I mean, at least that's something. It's better than nothing, but line-out was poor, too many missed tackles. What can you say? Highlanders down 1 spot into 10th, and then the Western Force, oh my goodness, they're the only side of these 4 that's actually had a win this season. Remember, they beat the Rebels last week, but then, oh my goodness, they lost 71 points to 20 in what was a pretty awful second half. I mean, they did get 1 try in the second half, but they also had a red card, which didn't help matters. So, yeah, the sooner that one is kind of forgotten about from a Force point of view, the better. So down 3 spots for the Force, sadly. Next, the Drua, who have got an 8th, which is also down a spot. Pretty bad second half, similar to what we said for the Force. Not quite to the same degree, 46-14 against the Waratahs. It's not a great result, but remember, these guys haven't played in Fiji yet. I feel like Fiji needs to be the factor with these guys. They've got the Crusaders coming up next. So if they can get some home support, get some momentum, you never know. But I don't think playing in Melbourne helped them in that regard. So still winless for the Drua. The Reds bounced back after a kind of disappointing first week where it was them having a bad second half. They made up for it this week with a bloody good second half. So up 3 spots, 71-20 over the Force. Fluke gets a couple, Dalgunu gets a couple, Vunivalu comes off the bench, looks to have done his hamstring, but he gets one. So, yeah, man, big second half from them. Yeah, that's encouraging because, as I said, last week was pretty disappointing. Aussie theme goes on with the Waratahs bouncing back after their opening round loss to the Brumbies. It's them who beat the Drua, so 46 points to 17, controlled possession and territory, which seemed to pay off, especially in that second half. And yeah, it seems to be a theme this week where the second half was often the difference between the sides. So yeah, encouraging from the Tars. We'll see how they go against some tougher opposition than the Drua. But yeah, it's been a bit of a mixed bag. My Blues, well, it was short. It was short-lived at the top. The Blues down 4 spots, 25-20 losers against the Brumbies. So, I mean, Big Red got a nice try, old Tom Robinson. But, yeah, the Blues didn't score any points in the second half. Neither did the Brumbies. It was a weird game. Brumbies maul pretty good. Blues probably should have had a try in the second half, but yeah, couldn't quite get things going. So, a bit of a jolt back down to earth for us Blues fans. The Crusaders' regular service resumes for them after a disappointing opening round. They've corrected things, so 52-15 winners over the Highlanders. Despite knocking the ball on 17 times, they still managed 52 points. Now, that's more knock-ons than you'll normally get in a couple of games. So, still lots of clean breaks, defenders beaten, getting some mauls going. The Crusaders were looking much more Crusader-like, so... a win and a loss for them. And then the top three teams are our three undefeated teams. So the Hurricanes, good win for them over the Rebels, who kind of weren't that fancy. They maybe got pushed a little bit harder than what was expected by this Rebel side. But remember, the Hurricanes were the only side this round to play technically away against a home team. So they piled on the points early. They had a couple of yellow cards. Xavier got a couple of tries. He also got sent to the bin for a wee bit. They had a red card, so they'll certainly take the win, given how things potentially could have panned out with that Rebels comeback. The Brumbies are in second with their win over my Blues. The Maul's looking good. Larkham loves them all. The Brumbies pre-Larkham loved them all, and the Brumbies under old Larkham loved them all. But that being said, I don't want to just say the Brumbies are only about them all, man. Like Muirhead seemed to have a pretty good game. So, the Brumbies have got some talented players. So, it'd be nice to see an Aussie team kind of stick it to the Kiwis. And so far, that's the Brumbies. Chiefs, though, I think comfortably number one. 2 wins. 2 pretty good wins as well. So one of them won a Pasifika, one over the Crusaders. Really tried through Paul Heapy. Within about 10 seconds, Stevenson bagged a hat-trick. They had issues with yellow cards of their own, but 52-29, pretty convincing. So there you go, folks. Power rankings for round number 1. You guys let us know your thoughts. If you want to catch yourself some high-scoring Super Rugby and you guys are in the States, Flow Rugby has the rights to the game. So check out Flow down in the description if you want to sign up. They are an affiliate of the channel. But there you go, folks. High scoring ones. Fingers crossed we get a couple of closer ones next week so you can be on the edge of your seat. But you certainly can't complain with some of the tries that have been scored. So, you guys let us know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.